All right, look, man, let's break this down. Um, People have to understand what Versus is. Eminem and his music isn't fit for the arena of Versus. This has nothing to do with album sales, Spotify streams. Of course, he has amazing streams. He sold out content. He's super popular and everything. That's not what Versus is about. Versus was made obviously by Swiss Beats and Timbaland, and it's about people just to pretty much feel nostalgic about artists from the past. But it was about creating a particular vibe when we're in the pandemic. So because we're now at home and so forth, we can't be in the club. Let's recreate a club vibe at home with two artists with great music that we can vibe to. Hence why the biggest versus battle was Babyface and Teddy Riley, who had music that took us back to the 90s and when we were in the 90s or the late 80s and so forth. So when you look at Jay-Z's catalog, which in my opinion, that is the greatest catalog of any rapper, he is almost unbeatable in the versus arena based because of the versatility and the depth of his catalog. Because I say to guys that if Jay-Z plays Big Pimpin', or he plays Excuse Me, Miss, or he plays Change Clothes, you can't play Renegade. You can't play Lose Yourself. You can't play Stan because that's not the vibe. And the issue is that Eminem doesn't have any kind of tracks that has that kind of anthem feel, that kind of impact that a Jay-Z's Empire State of Mind can give you. Or, as I said, Big Pimp, because that's what makes it. Because for more, there are a lot of artists, maybe only like, let's say, Kanye and um Kanye, maybe Dre, but specifically Kanye, there are very few artists that can respond to something like Big Pimp, and that's an anthem. Like, what does Eminem play if Jay-Z plays Girls, Girls, Girls? This is, especially when you know that the arena was going to be mostly black women there. Black women, Latino women there, and so forth. It's like, what do you play? It's like, so this isn't like to discredit Eminem or so forth. It's because what has been happening online and so forth. Because this all came about because Jay-Z said, nobody can stand with me on a stage. No, it's impossible. And then a guy on the video said, is he forgetting about Eminem? And everyone just said, no, Eminem, what? No. And that's not discrediting Eminem with the fact that he's a damn good rapper, one of the best rappers out there. But people are thinking about the versus vibe, and they say that, why would you bring Eminem to a versus vibe? It's the totally wrong vibe. And I think it's like, what you're now seeing, especially online, is that for black people, specifically black people in America, of course they respect Eminem as a lyricist and so forth, but the music just doesn't vibe. You know, like you can't, Eminem's music and his catalog in New York, in the Barclays Center, that's a bad mix. It's a really bad mix, and I think that it would be really bad if Eminem plays his music up against Jay-Z's music, specifically in New York. Because if Jay-Z is to do this battle, of course it's going to be New York. It has to be New York, which is why the only guys that can go up against a Jay-Z is either Nas, Wayne, or what's it called, or Kanye. Those are the only guys who have the depth of the catalog, but the right kind of a music. And I think what you're seeing is that Eminem's music has aged like milk. Bro, I used to recite Criminal all the time. I loved that song off my Mother's LP. I loved it back in 2000. So back in 2000, I loved that track. I loved Without Me. I loved that track. White America, I used to these tracks. But when I listen to them now, I'm like, bruh, yeah, when I was of that age, it was cool. But right now, it's just like, I actually feel awkward reciting them because I'm like, listen to these lyrics. Listen to what this guy is saying. So as an older guy now, I just can't roll with Eminem's music. And I think the issue is that if you not play Eminem's music in today's thing, because see, Eminem doesn't have any classical musical tracks. Bro, whether it's Dead Presidents, whether it's Big Pimpin', whether it's H to the Izzo, E to the Easy, for Jesus Manizzi used to dribble down in VA, like any of Jay-Z's tracks, it's a Hard Knock Life, like those are classics that you can play again and again and again. And ask any DJ, bro, yes, I have a Jay-Z catalog that will always work in any club. Eminem's music doesn't work in a club. You know, like if you're a DJ, you're not playing Eminem's music as a DJ in a club. You're not. especially in a club of black people. And if this goes ahead, the demographic are going to be mostly black people. And mostly black people in New York don't want to listen to Eminem. They don't want to listen to Eminem. So that's just the reality of the matter.